no, this is like a fly-by-night timeline. This was an unrealistic timeline to start with, but I think Kevin's doing great. But it's just in this environment, you know, and the way this country is running at this point is materials are double what they used to be. You know, timelines on getting things, the weights on things are just ridiculous. You know, it's hard to get what you want when you need it, and when you do get it, it costs so much more than you wanted to pay for it. But we're kind of over a barrel if you're moving at a time frame that, you know, says I need to have it today. You know, you pay for that premium, and that's hard to convince a client that that's a worthwhile investment.
We are working on the wall mounts for the tablets. We have the tablets, we have some testing mounts. This one's going to be a little bit too big, so back to the drawing board. And this is David.
Hi.
David, say hello to everyone who's viewing, all 13 people watching the vlog.
Oh my gosh, I'm riveted. Hi everyone, hope you're having a great day too.
So David is our designer at the space. He's the creative genius behind all of the awesomeness that we have.
I'm the one that makes Sean cry at night. My name is David Sylvester. I am the owner of D. Sylvester Designs. I'm an interior designer. You know, I'm not a great proponent of like these little catchphrases for design styles, but what we're looking for is a beachy feel, you know, because we are at the beach, but streamlined and modern. You know, we want it to be light, open, airy, and you know, it's a long, darker space, and so we're trying to bring in as much natural daylight as we can and to illuminate whatever spaces we can in an elegant and chic way. So we're using, you know, many different layers of lighting. We're using overhead lighting, we're using wall lighting, we're using under lighting and things like that, so that you have a lot of complexity with the way the lighting is going to be. Because, you know, in a gym space, you want as much open floor as possible, and it's hard to make that interesting if you know, you can't put a chair here or a curtain there or a pot here. You know, so it's like, okay, you can treat the equipment as if it's sculptural, which of course I'm going to do because I'm going to take advantage of every little piece that we have to make it, you know, to make the space as interesting and comforting and desirable as I can. But it's all about the materials, the textures, you know, the tones and the colors.
Right. You can imagine the amount of safety concern that I have for clients who are pulling these off and now smashing all of their knuckles.
Yeah.
So
it's hard to drag them if you smash them.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to be looking at, and I'm not sure the best way to approach this yet, right? So we have dumbbells and we have plates.
Between between this lip here and where your hand would go in. So I would do a lip on the inside to control it. Either that or do a lip at the top and tilt it.
Well, the problem with that is it can't be accessed from both sides.
Oh, okay.
So it needs to either be flat on the top shelf, or we build like something along the side of the rack that could hold all of the dumbbells on one side, right? Even this would work, right?
Yeah.
Something like this, where like it's open in the middle, it can be accessed from both sides. You can reach in, grab the dumbbells out. We can stack the plates on the bottom. It can stay relatively small. The only issue with something like this is how wide is it going to have to be to fit both sets, right? Which is why we have the dumbbells here, where I got that first set ordered, so that we could lay them out and be like, okay, if we're going to go with this design, then the rack's going to need to be
at least this long.
Exactly.
I think vertical space is better. It serves you better for that space.
I agree with that.
Is Dr. Sean being a bit of a Scrooge McDuck with the bill?
Fuck out of here. I would never say he was Scrooge McDuck. I would say he's tight as hell, but no, he's a responsible client. You know, he knows what he wants to spend, and part of that job is to, you know, my number one job is to meet my clients' expectations. And, you know, and in order to do that, I have to establish, you know, reasonable expectations with him to begin with. And so it's just like he forgets that I have said, oh, we're going to spend 75 to 100,000. And every time I see him, he's like, are we still on budget from last week? And I'm like, we didn't have a conversation last week.
What I'm asking is it still going to come in, do you think, at the numbers we talked about last week? Total.
What did we talk about last week?
I think it was for the design, like all of the design stuff, including the finishing, 75K.
I think it's going to be around 80. Everybody wants to get, the most they can get for the money that they're spending and know that it's being spent well. He understands that there are things worth investing in, that I'm not just buying superfluous things that he doesn't need. And, it's going. There will be heartache and such, but it's like my goal is to like not have him at the end go, oh, you know what? By the way, we went $75,000 over budget. It's like I don't want him to find that out when he's doing his taxes this year. Push things down to the point where I feel like it's about where it can be and still look luxe. Mm-hmm. And there are still little places that I can, pare things away. Like on this tile here, it's like I can, scrape an extra, this has got 108, I can scrape another 60 square feet of this tile off if we don't put it above these sinks. Mm-hmm. That kind of thing, but it's just like, this is probably around as close as you're gonna get. I mean, that's 13 for 2 bathrooms.
13 what?
Thousand pesos.
I prefer 13,000 pesos.
I do too.
$13,000.
But it's just like, okay, so am I adding? If I keep adding to his workload.
Well, no. The question is, hey, this is what it would cost us to do this. Can we do the same thing as the front and the back?
Yeah.
And not pay another dollar.
I mean, I don't think. I mean, it's probably for shipping and the metal base and all the heaviness and such. I am not married to that bench at all. It's just.
For the reception area and the bench areas, it was $9,000, but I don't know, like it's not individualized out. I know. Right.
Yeah. And we were shooting for October 1st, and clearly that's not going to happen. But, I'm thinking, beginning of November, we should be in a 85% capacity. There will still be things that are coming in that have timelines on them and things like that. So that's what we're discussing today, was just what do we have to order now in order to get it here in a timely manner. So there may be things like wall fixtures and things like that aren't up yet, but you can still work out in the space and you can still be a part of that whole community there. So, things will come and go. It's like, okay, the countertops may be temporary countertops until the actual stone gets there and such. Some things we don't have control over. Some things I've just gone like, no, we're not spending that money on that. It's like that. It's not that important or integral to the design that if we switch this to something that's less expensive, it's going to affect the way the space feels. It could be interesting to see it become a chain. Like Equinox or something where there's like, there's a bunch of them and they all look the same, sort of. They all have their own fingerprint, but they're all like worked on the same design concept. It's a different concept for a gym space than I've ever heard of or seen, and it seems very interesting what he's trying to do, and I want to see how successful it is. And it's like he said, if he plans to do this, and he plans to start opening them in other places as well. So everybody wants to be in on the ground floor of something that's new and innovative.